Let's hope this doesn't happen often when it comes to officiating, because this was bad for Pope and Kentucky at least. Mark Pope has always been a positive coach, rarely showing any irritation with factors outside of his team's performance. However, Kentucky's loss to Alabama in Tuscaloosa brought a rare glimpse of frustration from the Wildcats coach, and this time, officiating was at the center of the discussion. This isn't about excuses or trying to cover up the result. Alabama beat Kentucky, period. But when a coach who avoids controversy and always preaches that officiating doesn't decide games expresses his dissatisfaction, it's a sign that something is out of the ordinary. The most notable episode occurred in the second half, when Pope, visibly unhappy with a call, was caught on ESPN cameras indirectly arguing with referee Terry Oglesby. The official not only briefly stopped the game, but also responded assertively to the Wildcats coach. Without audio, the exact content of the exchange remains a mystery, but the scene itself was unusual, to say the least. If Pope allowed himself a moment of indignation on the court, in the post-game interview he opted for a more diplomatic path, even if his dissatisfaction was evident between the lines. When asked about the early exit of Otega-Owa, who committed quick fouls and had little influence on the game, Pope smiled, hesitated, and gave an ironic response. "Are you baiting me for an answer here?" After a strategic pause, he finished with a shrug. "I think Alabama is a fantastic defensive team." This statement, of course, is far from the truth. The numbers show that the Crimson Tide rank only 155th in the nation in defensive efficiency, which makes Pope's observation a clear irony in avoiding a fine from the SEC. The real problem was the inconsistency in the calls, especially the fouls called on Owa and Colin Chandler. The total number of violations may have been even in the box score, 22 against Kentucky, 20 against Alabama, but the way they were called tells a different story. The Wildcats faced uncalled physicality on several layup attempts, while on the other side, the whistles seemed to blow more easily. Some violations simply didn't happen, and the accumulated wear and tear hampered Pope's options down the stretch. Despite the occasional irritation, Mark Pope remains a coach who doesn't usually blame losses on external factors. If even he reached a point of exasperation, it's because the officiating performance really raised questions. Kentucky's hope is that this type of situation doesn't become too frequent. College basketball will always have its fair share of questionable decisions, but when a coach like Pope, known for his controlled approach, reaches his breaking point, the SEC might want to take notice. Now, the Wildcats have to move on. Pope will surely refocus on what he can control: the team's performance, the necessary adjustments, and the team's preparation for the challenges ahead. And what will be the next challenge? Let's talk.